My name is HW.
Hey, I'm the Sooze.
Sooze, people want to know. They want to know how the Zrecker compares to the T-Rec Liverbird.
The Liverbird.
I've been corrected. It's Liverbird.
Right.
But this one is Zrecker.
Yes.
That I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
It's not Zrecker.
No, or Zrecker.
So here's in short, and I want to get into what's in this pack and the different speakers that we did and stuff for the people who bought it and the people who are looking at it. But in short, the Liverbird is a rockin', touch-sensitive monster of an amplifier. And it's got some cool clean sounds, but it really gets going quickly. This thing, I think, is the story of rock and chime. Because it really does those two things equally. We were a little rockin' there in the intro. We could clean it up a little bit. We can bump back a couple profiles. And I could turn up some verb, and people can instantly hear. Play something a little ambient here, Sooze. People can instantly hear. This thing is just as at home in the chimey, beautiful kind of stuff, and you don't even have to clean it up. You know what I mean? Like your volume can be up. You know, it's just play something a little nice. Now throw it on the bridge, and I'm going to bring you back up to that intro sound, and you know, it's just
right.
More chime, less in the mids compared to the Liverbird. If the Liverbird is like Marshall, but a little bit of like AC30 style something from the EL84s, this is like more AC30, but still with some good Marshall stuff. But that AC30 is more...
It's leaning in that direction.
I wouldn't even say leaning, it just has that quality at the forefront.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's still... I mean, you can't get an AC30 to not break up in the low, like to break up like this in the low end and stay together and stay tight.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a completely different thing. But we did a couple different speakers, 3 different speakers. So X means 66 Alnico Silvers. If you click over, we did those with bright and not bright. So here we'll show people that. Do this. Let's try. Can you try to clean it up a little with the neck? Because it still does that thing. It's still touch sensitive and does that thing. But Zrecker X5, and then I'll put you on Zrecker B5. Okay, that was X5. Now here's XB5. Same thing there. To me, like this guitar is fairly bright. I mean, it's for a humbucker guitar. It's fairly bright. I would say if you want more chime, try the Bs. If you want more rock, go for the non-Bs.
Yeah, and that's just this set differently. Is that what we're getting with the B?
Yeah, so there's no actual bright switch, but this circuit's a little different in that there is like a cut knob, which I think is more labeled a cut knob. I think it's just a presence knob. I don't believe it actually works like a AC30 cut, which is actually cutting high end in the power amp. Because it doesn't work in reverse. But that could just be trickery. I mean, it could be. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But It's supposed to resemble like an AC30 cut, where you can put the treble up higher. You can maybe even use brighter speakers or get a very direct sound with a microphone, but that cut brings out some of that high presence frequency, allows you to be very bright, but not ear-fatiguingly bright.
Yeah.
And then, so in amps like this where we don't have a bright switch, which the Liverbird had a 3-way bright switch, it's just a brighter EQ. It's more treble, more cut, or less cut, depending on how you look at it.
Did you find like moving the treble around did a similar thing to the cut, or was it like a different frequency?
I mean, the treble adds everything. In that way, think of it like an AC30. The treble is just everything high. It's treble. It's probably everything from like 1,000 up. So it's even like high mids, on the treble.
Okay.
But it's also a ton of like 7K, 8K, 10K. It's a ton of like really harsh stuff. 5K too. It's everything in there. And then the cut helps you take the highest stuff down, and you start to just sort of grab the high frequencies and filter them out.
Sure.
So you can get a lot of the 1K, 1.5K, 2.5K. So you're getting high mids, treble, even some presence like 5K, 6K. But you don't have to get all the extra airy, like raspy stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in that way, I mean, definitely I get why like this is like Paisley's, amp that he plays. And he plays like Bruno Underground 30s and stuff and different stuff. But to me, like, is it rec like? It's rec like in that it has a lot of gain on tap. You definitely feel that it's like cousins with the rec, but it's not that circuit. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's not the Express Liverbird preamp where it's like ultra rockin' Marshall-esque thing. How about you grab a telly and we try rock and chime on the telly?
Let's do it.
That's good.
Yes.
That to me is like chimey rock, what I think this amp's really good at. I'll come off the bright switch, and same thing, you're on the bridge, bright guitar. Instantly this will be like more thick rock. That's good stuff, man. That's really good stuff.
That's the X.
That's the X.
Yeah.
So we did do a couple speakers, like I said earlier. X, we did this cab, which is right down here, which is the M25. I labeled it here. But these are the 69 T1221 cone greenbacks from 1969. I'll never get tired of saying that. Here, try those. I'll put you on the same amount of gain. And I tried to, by the way. I actually made these profiles in a little different way. I tried to be really uniform since we were doing 3 different speakers.
Right.
So I actually profiled the amp, and then when the gain was like too much, I was like, no, that's too much. Then I took the amp gain down, profiled it again to really zero in on the 5 setting for each speaker. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So 5, if you look at the gain range on the Kemper, is going to be across all the speakers, whether it's X or M25 or H30, is going to be almost the same gain range. Because I wanted you to be able to get the same amount of gain per speaker. Right. Whereas sometimes they move around a little bit because speakers break up differently. But I just adjusted the amp to get like the same total amount of breakup. So M25 5, that's the greenbacks, traditional 25 watt greenbacks, what we think of greenbacks today, with the same amount of gain that we just played on the blues. And you're going to hear the difference in the EQ. This is no bright, by the way. More present, not rolled off, not like as mid-rangey. To me, just more open sounding. Still like there's mids, but to me it just sounds more open and more present.
Yeah.
What does it sound like to you?
Yeah, I would. It's not scooped, but it starts to head that direction from the fullness of the X profiles.
Okay, check it out with the bright switch or with the bright EQ. that sounds like a telly.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Into an angry amplifier.
Yeah, and the bottom is like steely and firm. You know what I mean? Whereas the it's a little squishier with the X profiles.
Yeah.
It's a little like rolled off on the bottom. It's not as tight.
Yeah. And I hear what you're saying too about the different response in the low end from like an AC30.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it just has that. It's
totally
not backing down from that low end.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's the thing too, is like an AC30 doesn't have that bottom end, sort of no matter what you put it into. You know, it itself lacks the sort of headroom to really get there. The speaker helps. This thing does have enough low end to, that's where it like kind of is more rec than AC30.
Yeah.
It's got like a nice low end rocky thing. You put it through the blues and feels more AC30. You put it through something like this, and to me it feels more on the rec side of things, if that makes sense. Okay, jumping over H30. This is the other greenback. So this is what we call the H30 today. So it's the it's the H magnet, the bigger, the larger magnet you can see on the speaker itself. Originally, they both had green backs, but and then for a while, I think they both had black backs. Celestia was just moving colors. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? You were really supposed to read the speaker, the code, and say, is this the 55 or the 75 watt hertz cone? You know, so and then they're 25 watts or 30 watts. So this is what we now think of as an H30, but it's a set from 1969 H30s. That's in an orange 412. So these are also greenbacks, but they're the other greenbacks, the one we call H30. We don't really call them greenbacks anymore. And here it is, 5, no bright EQ, just the regular EQ. And you're going to hear this speaker, compared to even the greenbacks, is more treble forward, a little more low end. Kind of scooped, but really more like treble rather than presence.
Sure, okay.
Check that out. That's rock and roll, man. Okay, try that now with the B profile, B5, and this is going to be just the brighter EQ. To me, these speakers, this and the blues, can get you some more twang if you want like the country twang thing. If you want almost like a rock twang, like you're Keith Urban and you play country music, but all the guitars sound like rock music, then this is a cool like callback, because then it at least sounds like a little twang on a telly.
Yeah.
And Paisley the same way. I mean, he just kind of plays with a little less gain. You know what I mean? But it's a very, I mean, he's got a pretty traditional sound. Yeah. You know, even in some of his crossover stuff. But that's it, man. I mean, there's a ton of options. And then look, we're gonna jump back to these B ones, and look at this magic trick. I'm gonna turn up. I'm gonna put on an extra delay. I'm gonna turn up the reverb, because that's a tone junkie trick. People always go, HW, what do you? How come I heard the demo and it's all like wet and spacey, and then I downloaded it and it was just the regular verb and delay. And we always leave the regular verb and delay on. In the demos, all we do is turn mix up or down.
These four controls.
That's it. Just mix. It really just mix. I hardly ever touch time or feedback sometimes, but not much. But now play that. It's going to be Sunday morning, chimey, beautiful goodness. And that's it. One What? It kind of does it all.
It's not like faking that sound and really doing the rock thing. It's like you say, it feels at home in both, which is nice.
Now, I did do this because I thought this was interesting. So we did this with a train wreck, but here it takes on a little different character. If I'm going to go back to these M75s, and here's where I go, okay, let's say you want a little more, especially on something like a Telly. So throw it on the bridge there. I'll let you play it without this mid boost and then with this mid boost. And this mid boost, I think is called... Well, I can't remember, but it's one of the... wait, what's it called?
Hot Knife?
Fatness. No, it's just called Fatness.
Okay.
It's the Fatness one. And the Hot Knife is actually right here, but I'll leave that off for now. I always suggest I'm using Hot Knife EQ in all the time when I play live. I just turn it on, and then boom.
The HW sound.
That's just what it is now, regardless of the guitar.
Sure.
At least all the guitars I've tried have worked. Fatness is in Tone Tools, and that's a free download, of course. It's on these profiles as well. And it's just, really what I'm doing is boosting 640, so trying to give you a little of that near 500 tube screamery thing. Tiny bit of fullness at 320. High mids, a lot of them, and a good amount of 2500, which is some treble. So... you could even come in here and boost these mids a little more if you want. That's up to you, up to your guitar. To me, this is really the purpose, to get us more mid-range. So check that out with and without. So here's without. Here's the normal sound. It's pretty rocking. These are the M25s. That's a good sound. Here's with the Fatness EQ, giving a little more fatness to the Telly going into the profile.
It's pretty baller.
It's pretty... that gets it closer, you know what I mean? Closer to the actual, to the wreck. Now let me just jump back just for fun. Like, it gets it closer in the sense of the mid-range. They don't sound the same, but in the sense of the, like, just how much mid-range is in that sound that we don't really get here. So here's 3. There's more gain in the Liver Bird. That, if you've ever played an actual wreck, the first time I saw one, I thought it was like cranked, but they're not. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then when I played the 2 wreck, same thing. I had to double check it wasn't broken. And then this Liver Bird turned out to be the same way. It's not meant to be clean. And actually, what I had to do on those profiles was 2 is like the lowest I can capture the amp. 1, I'm creating on the Kemper by turning the amp down, or by turning the gain down.
Yeah.
You really can't get that sound, so you almost get a better clean by capturing it with the Kemper than you do in the amp in real life. But Liver Bird 3 is about similar to like 4 of the Z record.
Safe to say that the Z gives you better cleans than the Liver Bird?
Yeah, for sure. Well,
more available.
I would say better cleans with your volume up.
Yeah.
Like with the Liver Bird, with all the train wreck stuff, you have to clean it up with your guitar. There's just no other option.
Like ready to go.
Yeah, because and it's something about the mids too. Like, it's so mid forward, and then I have no idea what's going on inside the amp. I think that is the magic, but there is no clean sounds. They're only saturated. And that doesn't make sense if you think about it. On every other amp, turning down your guitar should be the same as like playing lighter. No, it is the same. But turning down your guitar is like the same as playing lighter, but that should almost be the same as sending less signal to the preamp tubes, which you should be able to do with the preamp volume. But for some reason, on whatever it is about the circuit, all this amp to a degree, and then the real train wrecks, they do not get clean on the dial itself. Like, they only get clean if you play softly or you clean them up. But there is no clean spot on the dial. And even when you get it, it just starts to get like less and less saturated. It's weird.
Could that volume be like after the preamp section? Could it just be like turning up the master, the overall volume?
It's not, because I looked at the circuit and I can see where the pot is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wired like, you know, it doesn't look like it's out of place or something. But
that's interesting. But you don't have that with this amp. Like you can get that clean range.
You get some of it actually.
And then crank it.
You do have it.
Yeah.
But it appears that the doctor has cleaned up. You get a little less of it.
The good doctor of tone.
Yeah. And you know, part of cleaning it up and part of getting chime. This is a different circuit, you know. So that's not quite there, but there's a quality of it there.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the Liverbird, and then we'll jump back to the other one just for fun. Here's the actual Liverbird 3, which is one of my favorite profiles. Great profile.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about the. It's just the authority of those mids. It's like rah.
Yeah.
And then the touch. I just feel like playing lighter. There's a range there, you know.
Right. Totally.
The offset is that you get more usable gain on the Z. I feel like.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. There's all these in betweens that you're not going to struggle to find with the profile itself. Yeah. Here's B3 on the Liverbird, so that we can hear the regular, now the bright one. It's funny, a lot more mids, but actually maybe even more treble.
Yeah.
But I would actually describe this sound as being maybe brighter or something. So I'm gonna try, I think like 4 is equivalent. Try 4. Less mids, might even be slightly cleaner here.
It doesn't have that really high end thing.
I actually think it's almost the same amount of gain on the Kemper. It's just the mids aren't so whatever they are in the other one, you know. And so here, now when you go to the treble or the brighter one though, listen to the high end. Like it's a little more twangy, snappy, you know. It's something a little less rock, a little more chime, I think. I would almost say that's high end right out of an AC30. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just more chime.
Can we hear the X for science?
For science, yeah. So those were the same speakers, by the way. But you want to see?
Yeah, just curious what the X is, because my memory says it pulls out that
try that
really high thing.
Well, here's without the bright. So here's the regular EQ. And that was the 5, actually. I should have put you on the 4, but who cares? We'll be on the 5s. Here's the 5 with the bright, with the X. The thing that makes you describe a rec like, oh, it's kind of Marshall-y, but it's kind of AC30, to me is there. But this thing is like, wow, that's a rockin' amp, but it's got high end. That's just like, to me, that chime high end is spot on AC30.
Yeah.
In a mix, if you can't hear how tight the bottom is and how full that sound is, you might just think that's a great sounding AC30 because it's like just the chimey stuff is going to kind of come out.
Sure.
You know, and
with this guitar, what's your What are you feeling in this moment right now? For me, it's as soon as I get to the X profiles right there, that's when it makes me a little smirk comes out.
Here's what I'll say: if you're a Sunday morning player, put this on B4 or B3. Turn on a little bit of this, and turn up the verb, and instantly play something. You'll hear that chime. It's beautiful. Forget it. If I'm a Sunday morning guy and you're like, I want Sunday morning, the chime stuff, I want to do that, I'm going to go with Zrecker. Overall, the Liverbird might be my favorite amp, like, of all time. Maybe. It really is, like, if you said you could only have one, I'd choose a Kemper. If you said it had to be one tube amp,
sure,
I'd probably go with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, because I might just go with an AC30. I don't know, just for nostalgia or something. But but it's so fun to play, and it cleans up. And I played a couple songs with it on a Sunday. Well, it was actually a midweek thing, and sounded great. It just sounded great. I used some of the cleaner profiles, and it sounded great. And then it's super rockin', and to me, it does all the stuff I really like. I love playing it and cleaning it up. Now, does it do John Mayer, Dumble stuff? No, I mean, of course not. Right. But there's nothing like that Liverbird. But I haven't run into something else that would, but this is like the Liverbird, but with a more AC30. I would say this is like the Liverbird, but grab the AC30 top end, throw it on top.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I like that last one we got on so much,
And I think actually this amp handles the Alnicos better. So this is more paired, in real life, this is used with a blue and a gold. Right. So the profiles that we used with the 66 Alnicos end up being like more appropriate for the Alnico EQ curve, I think.
What's like the intended speaker for the Liverbird?
So Ken Fisher used to put all the train wrecks together, and he always tested, I believe, through an Ampeg cab, which I don't know anything about the speakers. Yeah. And then I believe JM is still using the same cab to put those things together and testing them all through there. Okay. So there's a control cab. But, I mean, I've seen people put train wrecks through, I've seen a lot of them on top of Marshall 412s. And that was kind of what we did, put them through greenbacks. Right. So it's the tale of some cousin amps. Yeah. Some cousin amps. The Liverbird and the Zrecker. Both EL84. One a little more like, I was going to try and do a Brad Paisley impression, but I don't really know what he sounds like other than a normal person. But imagine him walking in and going, really like these amps, just kind of wish give me a little more AC30. And that happens. And then the Liverbird being like, it's like the Express, but what if we put EL84s in it? Right. And sort of made it more that way. So it takes on some of the qualities of an EL84 amp. Yep. So we're getting close to each other, but we're maintaining some very distinct differences. Sunday morning, I might give the advantage to this. If you're a pure Sunday guy. If you're just a straight up lover of guitar, nothing rocks like that Liverbird that we've done so far. Right.
It's safe to say with the Liverbird and with the Zrecker, you're wrecking people's weekends. I mean, you've done it. You're right. They're wrecked.
Oh man, I mean, I think there's some really great tones in here. If people enjoy the Liverbird, this is another flavor of that. Yeah. So, well, I hope that's been helpful for people. It rocks. It chimes. That's a little more what's inside. I went for the same effects here because I thought they all worked because they're kind of in the same way we do all these Fenders. It almost felt like that, right? Like going from a deluxe reverb to a pro reverb, or from a twin to from a twin to a deluxe, something like that. Well, Sooze, I'm going to let you play us out. Do you want something Sunday morning or Friday night?
What does like Saturday afternoon sound like?
I'm going to find a Saturday afternoon sound. It sounds probably like it'll sound. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe it'll sound like this. A little bit of tomfoolery. Put the mids in there. I don't know if this is going to sound good.
Right.
But my name has been HW.
I've been the Sooze.
Thanks so much for watching Tone Drinker TV. Like, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. HW and the Sooze.
Out.
Out.